All right. That was fast. Can't believe 12 o'clock hit that quick. Thomas Dimitrovich here. Get that straight. All right. We are on another IAEI News Live. I was knee deep in thought. I was just did a quick search in NFPA link because our topic today of discussion is on garages. So we're going to be talking garages, garage circuits, garage electrical safety, and all that jazz. And I wanted to, and we're going to build on some discussion points from some of my activities this over the weekend. So I thought that would be a great topic for today's IAEI News Live. Stay tuned for a discussion around garages, all starting now. Right. Man, that was fast. It just seems like this is going really, really quick. I got to, for some reason, I'm not seeing comment. So, need to figure this one out. I'm not sure what's going on. All right, so let's talk about garages. Now, here's the thing that I think we're all going to want to think about. I got to get my chat up. There we go. All right. Man, I'll tell you what, David Engelhart, Michael Hofkin, Nihad, Joseph. Did not sound too certain. You were the real Thomas Dimitrovich. I know. I'll tell you what, Joseph, I was so engrossed and I realized it was 12:01. I hit start and man, that was a lot of fun. Anyway, so now I've got curious if the electric cars restrict their charging in garages for greater than 80 kilowatt hour battery capacity in their vehicles as required by IRC 3328. Tom, does it matter if they are attached or detached? We are all in the mindset of garages, and I am glad that's the case. So I've got to do two things. I got to pull this up my my monitor. You know what I am going to do? I'm going to plug this in. I need another monitor. Jody, I need another monitor. Okay, so we're going to see if this pops up and it doesn't kill my my dialogue. All right, so I'm going to move my web page. I need to see, for some reason, in my OBS software, now I can see all of your comments. All right, so I'm good to go. I'm going to close this chat box over here, hit OK. I'm going to close this one and hit OK. All right, now I just want to double check, make sure that this is going to work, and it will. All right, so garages. I think the best place to start on garages to answer, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, garage or a big workshop. It's exactly right. I believe it was Robert made a comment about, does it matter if it's attached or detached? So let's do this. Let's talk first about the definition of garages. So the first place I want to start with regard to garages is in Article 100. So grab your, you're going to need either to get your NFPA link or grab your copy of NFPA 70. I've got a physical copy. I've got NFPA link going on here. I've got both. Everything is fine. Everything is hunky-dory. So the definition of garages, and make sure that you got your spectacles. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, all right. So definition of garages. A building or portion of a building in which one or more self-propelled vehicles can be kept for use. So A, it has to be a self-propelled vehicle. One or more self-propelled vehicles can be kept. That really opens a lot of doors, doesn't it? I have to show that a self-propelled building or a self-propelled vehicle can be kept there, period. And it's a garage. So that means the door has to be big enough for me to get a vehicle in there. That means I have to be able to have access from the road to get there. Those would all be fair game. All right. So, all right. I have to be either keep them for use, sale, storage, rental, repair, exhibition, or demonstration purposes. So, and I would say that the building can't qualify as something else. For example, if I think about like a trade show floor on in a exhibition hall, like a convention center, I would argue you can put a vehicle in there, but I wouldn't say a convention center is a garage. Although technically I can pull a vehicle in there, I can exhibit the vehicle there, but I would argue, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. That's a good point, Michael. So let's look at that's a good point. Self-propelled vehicle. I'm curious if we define what a vehicle is. We define a vessel, but we don't define a vehicle. Oh, and you know what we use, Michael? If it's not defined in the book, Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. What is a vehicle? What is a vehicle? QRSTUVWLMNOP RESPECT vehicle. So in this book, V is before W. So what does Merriam-Webster say a vehicle is? We know what self-propelled is. Well, wait a second. Do we know what self-propelled? Well, yeah. Self-propelled. Vehicle. I'm not going to go there. VEN, VED, VEH. Vehicular vehicle. Vehicle is an inert medium in which a medicinally active agent is administered. That's not it. Any of a various media? No. An agent or of transmission? A medium through which? Nope. A means of carrying or transporting something. Planes, trains, and automobiles. So a means of carrying or transporting something. Motor vehicle. So Michael Hofkin, your lawn tractor, could meet the definition of a vehicle. Wow. Oh man, would you believe that we're getting stuck on a definition? Because when does a shed become a garage? For example, my shed outside. I have a shed in my backyard. Man, I don't know if I can find a picture of my shed. because let me find, and maybe I'm lucky if I can find, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to try search all photos. I think I can search. Can I? Library. Thought I could search, but apparently I can't. I thought in zoom in, zoom out, filter, all items, photos. These are all photos. Well, apparently I cannot. I'm going to close photos. And I'm going to reopen photos because I thought I can search for photos. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I know I have a picture of my shed in the backyard, but my shed, to your point, Michael, my shed, I keep, search, there it is. I'm gonna type in shed. There it is. All right, so you see the two doors on this one. Now it's in my yard. It's in my yard. I store my Kubota tractor in this shed. Actually, that's an old picture. Here's the new picture. Nope, that's an old picture. There's the new picture. I took the window out, and I widened the doors so I can get my lawnmower in there. Now, does this technically meet the definition? A building or portion of a building in which one or more, so I put my Kubota tractor in there, self-propelled vehicles can be kept for use, sale, storage, rental, exhibition, or demonstration purposes. Hey, Willie, smash that like button. Thank you, sir. And if you have to hit the thumbs down, hit it twice. So, absolutely being a member of IAEI. So let me ask you guys. Okay, I went from this to that. So that's my question. Is that, I'm going to do another search for a tractor. Kubota, right? Kubo. There it is. There's my Kubota tractor. All right. This is when I had it in my garage before I put it out in the. So is that a vehicle? Would you call that a vehicle? It sort of meets the definition, and there's no definition in the code. So I don't know about you, but a lot of question. And I am storing my Kubota tractor in, there we go. Here's a better picture of it. So there's my Kubota. There's my Kubota tractor. That's where I'm storing it. Is that a garage or is that a shed? I want you to tell me. Remember, what are your opinions here? I need to know, because this is a big, there are going to be certain requirements if we classify that as a shed or if we classify it as a garage. Yeah, I guess that is a riding lawnmower, but it's a Kubota, Jody. Come on, it's diesel. The moment you put diesel, it becomes a tractor, okay? In my opinion. Remember, everything I say is in my opinion. It comes out of here. It started up here, hopefully. It's all from the heart. So, electric to that shed. Yes, there is. There is a receptacle in. So, there's the question. In there also per 210. Let's talk about. Okay, so David Engelhart, you're getting us into the discussion. So the first thing we've got to think about is 210.11C4. So here's what we're going to do. 210, whoop. 210.11 Charlie 4. What is 210? Branch circuits. And I'll call that not medium voltage, because if you think about what we did, we moved all the medium voltage stuff to 235, right? So dot 11, I need my spectacles. So open your books, Article 210, 210.11, branch circuits required. 210.11 is branch circuits required. I just had to hang up on Tom Moore. He should be watching this. I got to tell him. C. 210.11 Charlie. I know what he's calling about, the Western section. He and I have been working hard, and he does a lot of work on the IAEI Western section. So hopefully I will see you in West by God, Virginia, here at the Western section in a little bit. C is dwelling units. Okay, so C is dwelling units. So we know we're in branch circuits, the required branch circuits, and dwelling units. And then 4 is garage. Garage branch circuits. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Now, what is 210.11C4? In addition to the number of branch circuits required by other parts of this section, at least one 120-volt, 20-amp branch circuit shall be installed to supply receptacle outlets, including those required by 210.52G1 for attached garages and in detached garages with electric power, and this circuit shall have no other outlets. Additional branch circuits rated 15 amps or greater shall be permitted. So here's the thing. If I look back at my shed, or I call it a shed, I can now call this a garage. I do have a 20 amp branch circuit going to this garage. Now, I didn't build the house. I bought the house. So whoever put this shed in pulled a 20 amp branch circuit. It feeds the receptacle, and it says a 20 amp branch circuit shall be installed to supply receptacle outlets, and it shall have no other outlets. So those two lights are off of that receptacle circuit. Is that a code violation? What do you guys think? It appears you have electric to the shed. Is there a receptacle in there also per 210.52G and GFCI protected? So David Engelhardt. So here's the issue, David. I do have a 20 amp branch circuit. So let's continue this discussion. 210. So the other area, 210.52, and you noted 210.52 what? G? 210.52G? 210.52, I just want to make sure. G is for garages. All right, 210.52G. So we know 210 is what? Branch circuits. 52 is your receptacles. This is your required receptacles, dwelling unit receptacle outlets. So this is dwelling unit receptacle outlets. And G is your garages, basements, garages, and accessory buildings. And I'm going to say G1. So G is basements, garages, accessory buildings, basements, garages, and accessory buildings, and 1 is garages. All right. So 210 is your branch circuits. 52 is dwelling unit, receptacle outlets. G is your garage, in your basements and accessory buildings, and 1 is garages. And what does it say? Each attached garage and in each detached garage with electric power, at least 1 receptacle outlet shall be installed in each vehicle bay and not more than 5.5 foot above the floor. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here. I have a 20 amp branch circuit. There is a 210.8. 210.8. 210.8 A for dwelling units. We know that. 210.8. 210.8. I should have, I just want to make sure we're 210.8 and then garages. So you got bathroom 2. Garages and also accessory buildings that have a floor located at or below grade level, not intended as habitable rooms and limited to storage areas, work areas. And so 210, again, 210 is your branch circuits. 8 is GFCI. A is dwelling units. And 2 garages and accessory. Buildings. Okay, so 210.8A2. So now let's go back to this. So shall be permitted to be supplied in accordance with 210. Okay, man, there are a lot of sections being thrown out here. Michael Hofkin has got the book open. I cannot fit 2 lawnmowers, so I will put here it is, Michael. So I probably could fit 2 small lawnmowers, but not my Kubota tractor diesel lawnmower. I would say it's a single bay. I would say that puppy, that's just a single bay. That's a single bay. So if this is okay, so I got to go back up. That section is confusing. Receptacle outlets only. So David Engelhardt, is this technically a code violation? Would I need to bring a second circuit out here? Now, again, keep in mind, this was built back in 2005, right? So we're looking at an installation that predates the requirements that we're talking about right now, which is a whole separate discussion. But if I was building this today, I would have to bring a 20 amp circuit out here for the receptacles. And I could bring a 15 amp circuit to handle the lighting. And there's definitely no garage door opener. So I would have to have a 20 amp circuit for receptacles, and I'd have to at least 1 receptacle, and I would have to bring a second 15 amp circuit out there because 210.11 C4. In addition to the number of branch circuits required by other parts of the section, at least 1 20 amp branch circuit shall be installed to supply receptacle outlets, including those required by 210.52 G1. Now, let's do this. I'm going to do this. This was built, this house was built in 2005. Now, probably in West Virginia in 2005, we were probably on the 2002. But I'm going to grab the 2005 edition of the code. And I'm going to see, what did it see? What did it say back in 210.11? C, there wasn't anything in here for garages. C had dwelling units. You had small appliance branch circuits, you had the laundry branch circuit, and you had bathrooms. So you didn't have garages. How about 210.52? Were there any requirements? 210.52G, basements and garages. For a one-family dwelling, at least one receptacle outlet, in addition to any provided for laundry equipment, shall be installed in each basement and in each attached garage and in each detached garage with electric power. Section 210.8A2 and A5. Where a portion of the basement is finished. Okay, so back in 2005, the only requirement was that I had to have a receptacle out there, so I could serve everything in that I could serve everything in this garage / shed, however you want to classify it, on one 20 amp on one circuit. It doesn't even say 20 amps. I could pull one 15 amp circuit, put all the lighting and that receptacle on that 15 amp circuit. Now, I believe, and I'm going to have to check this, but I believe that that's a 20 amp circuit going out to those to that shed, because I believe that the insulation was yellow on the NM wire out there. All right, so in 2005, this perfectly legal. But in 2023, absolutely code violation. Because I would need two circuits, one for the receptacles and one for the lighting. And there is a light, there are two light bulbs inside on the rafters, two light bulbs, and then the two outside lights. And I have those outside lights on a, I have those outside lights on, what do you call that? A wireless. I can turn them on and off. All right. Let's go back to the chats here. 210.11C4 exception. Oh, exception number 2. 210.11C4. Exception 2. Where the 20 ampere circuit supplies a single vehicle bay garage, outlets for other equipment within the same garage shall be permitted to be supplied in accordance with 210.23A1 and A2. Michael, you are like a walking code book. Did you get that from here? Did you get that from there? Did you? All right. So 210.23A1 and A2. 210.23A1 and A2. 210.23 is permissible loads, multiple outlet branch circuits. No case shall the load exceed the branch circuit ampere rating. A branch circuit supplying two or more outlets or receptacles shall apply only to the load specified according to its size. A 10 ampere branch circuit shall comply with the requirements of A1 and A2. Wait. Hold on. Where the 20 ampere branch circuit supplies a single vehicle bay garage, outlets for other equipment within the same garage shall be permitted to be supplied in accordance with 210.23A1 and A2. 210.23A is a 10 ampere branch circuit. A1, loads permitted. A 10 ampere branch circuit shall be permitted to supply. I think, Michael, I need my 2020 code book. 210.11. 210. 210. All right. Garages. C4 didn't have that additional exception. Additional branch circuits rated 15 amps. Where the 20 ampere branch circuit supplies a single vehicle bay garage, outlets for other equipment within the same garage shall be permitted to be supplied in accordance with 210.23A1 and A2. I think we've got an issue here, Michael. I mean, look, maybe you guys have already figured this out. The references to B, to not A. NFPA link has it correct. Ah, okay. So I got to go to NFPA link 210. The first edition, first printing of the book is got issues. 210, I'm going to look at NFPA link 210.11 C4 210.23 B1 and B2. So here's what you got to do. I got to fix this. So in my book, and it is correct in NFPA link, thank you, Michael. In C4, this should be a B, B1 and B2. Now it makes sense because B1 and B2 are not the 10 ampere. That is what it used to be. And that would be your 15 and 20 ampere. So cord and plug connected equipment, utilization equipment, fast, but lighting is not in there. A 15 or 20 ampere shall be permitted to supply, lighting outlets. So that's B. It doesn't say 210.23B. It just says B1 and B2. B1 says the rating of any one cord not fastened in place shall not exceed 80%. And B2 is utilization equipment fastened in place. The total rating of utilization equipment fastened. Why wouldn't it say 210.11, 210.23B? Because B, parent text, says lighting outlets, lighting units, and other utilization equipment, or any combination of them, and shall comply with B1 and B2. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that, Michael? The exception doesn't point to 210.23. B. The exception specifically points to B1 and B2. Does that mean that the parent text has the lighting? The lighting is not in B1 or B2. David, you got it. Nailed it. So I can't put my lighting. What does this? I think the exception needs fixed. It should say 210.23B. You know what? Public input time. Public input time. So, oh man, we could write one right now. Well, I'll do it later. But I think, in my opinion, that is public input material. It should say B. There is only a B1 and a B2, but lighting is covered in B. And it all happened right here, Michael and David, on IAEI News Live. This is why we do this stuff. We learned a couple things. We learned there's an errata in the first printing of the NEC. We recognize that when we have that issue, go to NFPA link and it's updated. Or I could have gone to the errata 70-23-1, which is the first errata that occurred, if I read that number right, and then I would have had it. Dadgummit. And we're only 33 minutes into it. And we've got a public input, our first public input. And we know that we've got some challenges with what a garage is. At least I do. All right. So, okay, so what do we got? So what do we know? We know we have to have a branch circuit out there. We know we have to have it GFCI protected. We know we need at least one receptacle in the bay, and I can tell you in my shed, I have a receptacle on the right side and a receptacle on the left side. I've got two lights in the ceiling, and I've got the two lights on the front. All of that is on a 20 amp, I believe a 20 amp circuit. My gut's telling me it's a 15 amp circuit. But every one of my circuits coming out of this panel board are yellow, so it's got to be 20 amp. It's got to be 20 amp. And I wonder, though, because here's the issue I'm having, Michael. When I remember my shed, there's wire in there that's white. I got to tell Jerry O'Connor, he's got to be watching the program and not calling me on Tuesday at lunch. So, Jerry, why aren't you watching the program? You could be partaking in this information blast, because we are discovering public input material. We've discovered an errata, and I'm looking at an installation that was done in 2005, probably to the 2002 code book because of the adoption process. And the fact, so I'm not even going to go there. But I recall seeing white wire in there, and if there is, I got to remove that, because that would be a 15 amp branch circuit. I hear another video coming on, Michael. I hear another video coming on. And I got to get out in that shed with a camera and take some pictures and see what kind of code violation do we got going on. All right, man. Okay, so now I've got GFCI protection, right? I got GFCI protection. I've got a 20 amp circuit to the receptacles, 15 amp circuit to the lighting. Or here's another thing I could do. Ooh, I could do this, Michael. Ooh. Lost my pencil. I got to get my talking pencil. All right. Here's the other thing I can do. I could, in my panel board, and we'll do this. We'll call this light. We'll call this Tom's single one tractor garage. And from now on, whenever I tell my wife I got to go out, I'm going to the garage. So now I can say, when I sell this house, it's got a 2-star garage and an outside garage. Now in my panel board, here's what I can do. I have a main. What I could do is I could come off of this with I'm going to call this a 2-pole GFCI. I could come out, and this is a shared neutral. I can put the receptacle on that circuit. I could put the lighting on that circuit. One common neutral. I can GFCI protect it, or I could put GFCI receptacles out in the shed and just put two single poles with a handle tie, right? And I would have to, what section? Not all NM installations can be assumed to tell you the not all NM insulation can be assumed to tell you the amperage of the NM cable. You will find 12.2 NM cable that has a white outer covering. It may be 12.2 NM. Look at the cable to figure it out. That's a good one, Joseph. I will do that. GES is not required if supplied with a single circuit. The disconnect is required. Or is this an accessory building? Oh my God, Michael. Oh man, just when I thought I knew what I was talking about, you had to go throw. So now is there a disconnect and a GES, grounding electrode? GES, grounding? I know a GEC is grounding electrode inductor. What's GES? Leave the wire and change the breaker to a 15 amp. I could do that. I could do that, Michael. I could put a 15 amp circuit breaker in here. Absolutely right. And then not change anything out there. And I highly doubt I will ever trip anything because I don't run tools out there. Very good point. Good advice. GES, grounding electrode system. Grounding electrode system. GES. Okay, so a grounding electrode system. So Michael Hoffman says, a GES is a grounding electrode system is not required if supplied with a single circuit. The disconnect is required. So I have a disconnect and I can kill power out there. All right. Grounding electrode system. Thank you. Detached garage system. Yes. Okay. All right. So now I could do a shared neutral for that. What do the local building AHJ classify that structure? Robert, here in West by God, Virginia, I don't know. I'd have to look at the drawings. It probably says shed on the drawing. But remember, what it looked like before, shed, search. Man, I thought, nope. Thought I had an older picture. Whoa, you don't want to see that one. Thought I had an older picture, but I don't. It had a smaller door and a window, is what it had before. So it was when I remember the discussion, it said outdoor shed on the drawings. All right, accessory buildings, more like it. Okay, so where are we at? I need to know. 43 minutes. All right, so we're 43 minutes in. We've identified a code change. We've talked about 210.50. We talked about 210.11, C4, 210.52G for the receptacles that are required. Let's take a look at that one again. Did we cover that one well enough? G1, in each attached garage and in each detached garage with electric power, at least one receptacle outlet shall be installed in each bay. So I have two receptacles, one on either side. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. I've used them both. And you know what I've used them for? I had a drill. And what was I doing? I was working on my vehicle, on my diesel lawnmower. And I don't want to offend you, Jody. You Texans have your thing, right? So I was working on my lawnmower and I needed my drill and I had to plug it in. That's about the only thing that I can honestly say I've ever plugged in. And I plugged in some lights. And I was working on the back. I was moving things out and rearranging the back of it, back of the shed, and I used some lights. And when I did use a saw, I did use a saber saw, a reciprocating saw, because I took the window out and I expanded, put the two big doors in. And those are cedar doors. So I put two cedar doors in there. Okay, so we covered 210. Now, let's think about what goes on inside. And I'm going to tell you something that happened to me this weekend. I was working in my garage. I made a cabinet, and I was making a reloading bench, a large bench out of 2x4s. Some of the tools I was using, now I have GFCI and I have AFCI protection going to my garage. Some of the tools I was using, so this was, I have 6 2x4s going through a planer, a DeWalt planer, and it's a hefty little puppy. I was using this, this is a DeWalt chop saw that I built the wings, the two things on the side come up so I can put a 2x4 level or whatever it is I'm cutting. So I'm using the DeWalt. What you see over here is a Delta bandsaw, or a Jet bandsaw. There's my table saw, and I have a vacuum. I think I have a picture of it. There's my shop vac. I connect this vacuum onto the table saw, and I use the same vacuum to connect to my chop saw. And I'll run the vacuum and the chop saw or the table saw at the same time. What else? I already told you I was taking those through. So all of that, so all of that activity is going on inside of that garage. A lot of working, a lot of tools. These are some of the reasons why we made the change to require a 20 ampere branch circuit. And we said at first, if you recall, we said you could not put any outside, charge the battery for the Kubota. Oh, you know what I do have? I have my motorcycle back in the corner. Back in the corner, I've got my Harley. Trying to see if there's a picture. I don't have a good photo of my Harley, but I have my Harley on a trickle charger in my garage, but not my Kubota. Well, you know what I do with my Kubota is I disconnect the battery, and I'll tell you what, in the spring I'm gonna have to put a trickle charger out there, because every spring I gotta put my charger. I have what do you call it? I have got a battery charger in my garage. It's an old one, tubes, I think, probably, I don't know, it's old, but it charges my battery, so I always have to take it out. All right, so okay, the NEC calls sheds accessory buildings. I do have an air compressor and I have a power washer, but my power washer is gasoline. Charge the battery for the Kubota. I do have to put it on a trickle charger. I have the same miter saw. I have a pole barn. I park my real tractor in it. It has overhead garage door and a side barn doors. Is it detached garage or 547 ag building? 547, you just threw in another twist. 547. Agricultural buildings. This article applies to the following agricultural buildings or that are part of a building or adjacent areas. Corrosive atmosphere, other articles, surface temperatures. Steve Froming, I don't see a definition of an agricultural building. Let's look in Article 100. There's no definition for an agricultural building. Applies to the following agricultural buildings. Excessive dust. Agricultural buildings where excessive dust and dust with water may accumulate. Excessive dust? Okay, so have you ever seen a here you go. My garage has, there's my bike back here in the corner, but look at that. I had now that's using a hand plane, but when I put that wood through through a I've got a router. I use a router in here. That's right. I used a couple of routers too. What's an agricultural building? Steve Froming says we would go back to building definition, which in this zoning states it as agricultural. All right, so you would go back to your jurisdiction to determine that one. It is not ag if the property appraiser identifies the land as agricultural. Okay. It is not ag if the property is not identified. Okay. All right. So when you're talking about agricultural buildings, what David Englehart's saying is that the property would have to be deemed agricultural for that to be an agricultural building. If you're not classified as agricultural, now this is for his area, so you'd have to really look at your jurisdiction to determine this. But I like this logic. Like if I am residential, I could have a pole barn just like yours, Steve Froming, and I couldn't say it's an agricultural building because I'm not zoned as agricultural. Okay, I like this discussion. 40 by 63, man. 547.3. So other articles for buildings and structures not having conditions as specified in 547.1, which is your excessive dust and dust with water. And my wife would say that when we were working in my garage, it was excessive dust. Corrosive atmosphere. This is poultry, etc. The electrical installation shall be made in accordance with the applicable articles in this code. So if you don't have excessive dust and dust with water, or corrosive atmospheres, meaning damp and wet reason, periodic washing, similar conditions, poultry and animal excrement, things like that, then you are elsewhere, which would say it's either a shed or garage or something of that nature. Must have conditions in 547.1 according to 547.3. Gosh, beautiful. Okay, we ended up over there. Now, okay, so here's what happened in my garage this weekend. Believe this or not, it's a fact, because I lost an extension cord. I had a green extension cord right here. Okay, this is my green extension cord. Boom. I don't have the tag on here. There used to be a tag that gave you the rating and all that jazz. But I moved. I didn't pull the extension cord. I was working on something else. I moved a table. My drill with this bit, which is a what do they call it? Torx? It's not Torx. Yeah, it is a Torx. It's a Torx. My decking screws don't have a Phillips or a regular. It's got a Torx on the top. This fell off of a table onto the floor, and you know it fell bit front, and when it did, it landed. And then this is a 70E. 70E tells you should check your extension cords, inspect them before use. Look at that. It put it, I don't know if you can see it, but it landed right in the center of this extension cord. I actually had to dig it out of the garbage. I threw it away, and then I thought this morning, I want to show this and I want to talk about this. These are some of the hazards. We will use extension cords extensively inside of garages. I mean, if I just look back, I have a couple. I've got a brand new extension cord that I'm using that, and I have a multi-tap outlet that is on the end of this that I plug a bunch of my equipment together inside of that. But that drill bit landed right on this cord. What are the chances of this, Michael? There's so much. You're exactly right, Michael. There are so many cross references. I know it's a 1 in a million shot. And it cost me, I liked this extension cord. I really did. It was light, it's flexible. You know, what I usually do is I throw this in the truck whenever I go someplace, like if I'm doing presentations and I need an extension cord, I drop this out. So now what I got to do is I need to make sure that I don't use this again, and I cut it because I don't want to mistakenly use it. But I am, Michael, I am going to save this portion of the conductor. I'm saving that portion of the conductor, and I'm going to keep that on my desk. So in any case, extension cord use, be very careful. Always review your extension cords before you use them. I know it seems like it's trivial. Take care of your extension cords and they'll take care of you. But if you damage them, just throw them away, in my opinion. You could buy the Michael, what is UL's opinion on this one? If I have an extension cord and I like this one here, I could cut that damaged part, go buy another adapter or another, what do you call it? It's the female side. I don't know what you call that. Anyway, I'd have to wire that on the end. I mean, it's no longer UL listed, but I am applying the, what do they call it? Cord. It's a extension cord plug, extension cord replacement plug, or yeah, here you go. Pass and Seymour makes them. Legrand 15 amp straight blade connector, 2-pole, 3-wire, gray, and they're made to put on the end of a extension cord. So, will I do that as long as I'm applying it within its listing? What are your thoughts? It means the product left the factory in accordance with the standards. Tom, with the new extension cord in the eastern section, I mean the golden extension cord, the UL listed extension cord, and look at that. I mean, that is a 1 in a million shot. I should make a key ring out of this, Jody. So I mean, I could. If you look online, you can find one of these. This is a Legrand Pass and Seymour. I know a bunch of people make them. But this is made for replacement. So I could take the rest of this conductor, just make a shorter one, couldn't I? What do you think? Any field modification is between you and your AHJ. Well, you know who the AHJ is in this house. Bobby Joe. So I guess I have to ask Bobby Joe. But I could save that wire. And I could go to the store for $3 or some cents, and do a replacement. They call it a straight blade connector. I like that, a straight blade connector. So that might be in my future. I could get it in black, I could get it in gray, in red, and in white. So I could see Yo Mark has applied and needs the product. So cord cap. Okay, rogue status. Come in with a rogue cord cap. All right, I had a question earlier. What was my question earlier? My gentleman said he was going to come back and ask the question. And this morning he had a really good... Oh, Eli's here. Eli Markovich, thank you for joining in. All right, so we had a lot of people here. We got Michael Hofkin. We got Robert from Omaha. We've got Willie Snyder, Michael Hofkin, Jody Wages. Lou Petrucci, thanks for coming over and seeing us. David Engelhart. It appears you have electric to that shed. Okay, we made sure we covered that. Michael Hofkin, David Engelhart. I'm just looking to make sure we covered everybody. Now, is a disconnect... Okay, we had the discussion about the disconnect and the grounding electrode system. It should be B. Leave the wire and change the breaker. Not all NM. That's a good point. Charge the battery for the Kubota. Yes, I do have to do that. David Sanchez in the house. You are the man, the devil man. Steve Froming, agricultural. We had the agricultural discussion. He has a 40 by 63. My little Kubota would fit nicely inside of that 40 by 63 half dirt floor pole building that you have. 547.3 discussion and all the cross references. Are you asking you all for an extension cord, you slide devil? Hey, I got this. I got this. All right, I'm just saying. I see where you got that, Jody. Cord cap. All right, so I was under the understanding that I could cut the old cord where damage and terminate to a replacement. And you know what, Lou? I believe that is what I am planning to do. So I go look and see. Yeah. So I'd have a healthy, I'm going to keep that cord. Good thing I didn't throw it away. This is the only part that I'm losing. And I'll bet you I could take and put the plug on this side, and I could put the straight blade connector on the other one. And now look at that, Michael. I turned one extension cord into two. And all I had to do was drop a drill. Was to drop this DeWalt 20 volt max brushless thing just created two extension cords out of one. That's a miracle. Okay, George Lockford, thank you. Thank you, Rogue Status. I really appreciate it. I tell you what, I was going to get into Article 511. That's another one that nobody brought up. I didn't see one person on this chat box bring up 511. Why not? We went to 547, but why didn't we go to 511? Because could it be because we were talking dwelling units and 511? The title of 511, because it goes to 11. 511 is commercial garages. Now, there are two other definitions. There's a major repair garage and a minor repair garage. What are the differences? If I go to Article 100 under garage, if I go to, I got a major repair garage, a building or portion of a building where major repairs, such as engine overhauls, painting, body and fender work, welding or grinding, and hold on, I've done all of these in my garage. I got a Miller 211 welder. I got a Miller plasma cutter. I've replaced my fenders. I've done my rocker panels. I've also repaired the frame on my F-150 with my Miller 211. And I'm thinking of taking the front of the engine and doing an engine overhaul on my F-150. I've painted and I've done body and fender work. So I had a major repair garage sitting up here. Welding or grinding and repairs that require draining or emptying the motor vehicle fuel tank, which I did. I emptied my fuel tank into smaller 5-gallon containers. I stored them out in my external garage. Performed on motor vehicles, including associated floor space. That is a major repair garage. A minor repair garage is a building or portion of a building used for lubrication, inspection, and minor automotive maintenance work, such as engine tune-ups, replacement of parts, fluid changes, brake system repairs, tire rotation, and similar routine maintenance. Now, both of those are code panel 14. Now, if I go to 511, they talk about repair garages with dispensing. You know what? Let's do a search in the 2023 code book for major repair garage. All of NFPA 70, major repair garage. Where's that used? 511.3, 511.3 D, C, B, 511.3 area classification. We're class 1 liquids. So B, major and minor repair garages that dispense motor fuels and fuel tanks, such as natural gas hydrants, shall have the dispensing functions and components classified in accordance with 514.3B1. In addition to any classification, repair garages, major or minor, where vehicles use class 1 liquids or heavier than air gases, fuels are repaired, hazardous area classification shall be in accordance with table 511.3C. And then there's a table, extent of classified locations. Wow. I wonder if what I was doing in my garage was legal or not. No. Geez, oh man. Where else is it used? It looks like it's only B, C, and D. 511.3 B, C, and D. And it's about classification. 511.3 is general area classifications. So you're classifying the areas, and then once you classify the area, then you have to follow the appropriate rules for those areas. Make sense? Wow. I'll tell you what. Does it cover electric car repair garage? I don't think so. The title is of commercial garages repair and storage. Commercial garages, therefore not the garages and dwelling units. That's exactly right. Ooh, Merriam-Webster's commercial. Isn't that like whenever you get paid to do an advertisement? Commercial. What does commercial? There's 2 M's in commercial. Commercial. Occupied with or engaged in commerce or work intended for commerce. Of or relating to commerce. Characteristics of commerce. Suitable, adequate, or prepared for commerce. So you got to be doing 511 covers flammable, full, not combustible. And we just hit 100 messages on this one. Great action. I'll tell you what, guys and gals, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed talking about garages. And I know we could have had another hour, but I enjoyed this discussion about garages. And I hope you did too. Even though I was like sort of dysfunctional in getting started because I got engrossed with the book. And then when I looked at the time, I got carried away. So I'm going to put my 2020 code book away. This is like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, right? Hello, neighbor. So I'm putting my 2020 code book away, and I'm putting my 2005 code book away, and my 2023 code book away in the bookshelf. All right, so my books are gone. My collegiate, my Merriam-Webster goes over here, off camera. So I got my Merriam-Webster put away. I got my IAEI News Live cup, and all is well with the world. Thank you, Michael Hofkin. I really enjoyed the dialogue. Robert from Omaha. Dave Englehart. Thank you, David Englehart. You are awesome. George Lockford, Rogue Status, Lou Petrucci, everybody who dialed in. I really appreciate the dialogue. The chat box helps tremendously. And I don't know about you, but I know I have a public input to finish now. So thanks for joining in today's session. Next week, I think next week's going to have to be a recorded session. Next week is maybe not. It's my father-in-law's birthday. I thought I was going to be somewhere next week, but maybe not. I might be able to go live next week. Looks like it. So we will see you next week right here on IAEI News Live. I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I did. Thanks for all of your participation, and smash that like button, and smash the like button. Hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to IAEI's YouTube channel. We are growing leaps and bounds, and I really appreciate it. IAEI really appreciates it. Remember, get your membership today. All right? And I just got my renewal in the mail, and it's going to look like this. All right? So I've got my renewal. I will be renewing here today. I also got my renewal for IEEE. So I got all my renewals, and everybody seems to use the same envelopes. So please look out for this if you got it in the mail, and you can make it so that it will automatically renew you. Get that done. Rogue Status, thank you for joining in. NHZXBOI, thank you for joining in as well. Take care, stay safe, and please, whatever you do, stay healthy. We'll see you next week. Thanks.